Well, it finally happened. This is crazy. Zach LaVine has officially been traded to the Sacramento Kings as part of a 3-team trade. We're going to get into it all and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Hayes, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcast. Pat, it finally happened. Zach LaVine has officially moved to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and their own 2025 first-round pick back. De'Aaron Fox is on his way to the Spurs. The Spurs are getting, the Spurs are getting De'Aaron Fox, and the Kings are getting.
I got you right here, my guy. There you go.
There you go. Good stuff.
I forgot to upload it. Yeah, no, listen, the Bulls getting back Zach Collins, getting back Trey Jones, getting back Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 pick via San Antonio. Now, I love that you were basically just cooking people over on Chicago Bulls Central who were trying to tell you that this means that they just remove all the protections. No, it means the Bulls get their 2025 pick. But I may be in the minority on this, and hit that like button if you feel like I am. This best case scenario. This is the best case you were going to get for the Chicago Bulls. I'm not upset at how this trade went down in the slightest. I don't think that this is the worst situation for the Chicago Bulls. I think, in fact, this is exactly what you expected it to be. I like the fact that you got protections back on your on your own pick for this year. Or I'm sorry, not protection. I like the fact you got the rights back to your own pick for this year. Me and you have both talked about how deep this draft is. I like the fact that the Chicago Bulls have a couple of young pieces that basically got their minutes cut in half when Chris Paul and Wemby showed up, right? You look at Zach Collins and you could say, he's completely fallen off, but he went from 28 minutes a game, I think, to 14 minutes a game. Trey Jones went from 28 minutes a game to 16 minutes a game, and their numbers have been cut in half. I don't know if they're going to be great pieces for you, but they're solid role player pieces. At least you're getting something back there. I don't feel like this is the end of the world. I feel like this is the beginning of finally choosing a direction. I like the fact that you clear up a ton of cap flexibility moving forward. You get $10 million in savings in 2025 and the 2025-2026 season, and it could generate a $26.3 million trade exception. Now, the problem is these are the Chicago Bulls. Will they actually use the trade exception? But I don't think this is the worst case scenario for the Bulls. In fact, I actually think this works out pretty well for the team. And yeah, you're going to be bad this year, but you're trying to get a good player in the draft to hopefully not be bad for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be bad, right, you're removing Zach LaVine without really adding anything back that's nearly anything as valuable as him. But it makes your books a little bit more clear. They're creating a $26 million trade exception, but at the same time, they're maintaining, now they don't have to worry, but even though we had a 95% chance to keep our pick anyway, yes, right? But at the same time, we are still gaining a little bit more flexibility, but we still got to make another move. We got to open up 2 more roster spots for this.
Yeah, and Casey Johnson tweeted this out. Torrey Craig and cover your ears, the Duarte fans out there. Chris Duarte both being shopped as players that could be shopped and or waived to open up those 2 roster spots. I
can't waive anybody because we all guarantee contracts.
I don't know. This is what Casey Johnson said. They could be players that are being shopped and or could be waived based on trying to open up those 2 spots. So either way, I think that this is people are losing their minds like you were going to win this trade. Like, I think that's the funniest part about this. Like, people are losing their minds like you were going to win this trade. What made you think the Chicago Bulls are dealing from a position of power? How long have I been saying this?
I've been saying for all my platforms, if anybody thought the Bulls you were gonna look at this trade and initially feel like we won it, you were all caught up in the sauce. The Bulls were never going to win this trade on the first day. It just was never going to happen that way.
And the fact that, oh my God, how can you not get more picks back? Because you're not in a position to demand more picks back. We do realize that this is because they regretted signing Zach LaVine long term.
Yeah.
I've talked about that for a while now, and I wish Zach nothing but the best. I think San Antonio is idiotic. If you want to talk about a team that lost this trade, San Antonio.
That's a fact.
We saw.
I mean, you think San Antonio lost the trade?
I'm sorry, not San Antonio. I'm sorry, Sacramento.
Okay.
Sacramento. No, San Antonio wins. They get De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. But Sacramento. We saw this.
Yeah.
Just because you swap Vooch for Sabonis, I'm sorry, did I miss that Sabonis DPOY? Did I miss the major difference that Sabonis is than Vooch? Sabonis is younger Vooch with better footwork.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I think this could be a better version of Zach LaVine and Vooch together for sure. So,
but you still got DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
We saw this, Kings fans.
Yeah, but I'll say this though, Pat. Vooch, Sabonis is a different version of Nikola Vucevic, but he is a better three-point shooter. I think he's better in certain aspects, and that they still, and unlike the Bulls when they made that trade, they still got Murray down there, who's a pretty damn good player as well. I don't know. This is a version of what, let me be clear, it is a version of what we just saw in Chicago the last few years, but I think the pieces are much better.
I think here's the thing, though, Hayes, and me and you both talked about this. Do Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan suddenly occupy massively different spaces for the rest of the season? Do they both not need the ball in their hand to turn into the people that they both need to? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we just saw this. I wonder if Zach LaVine sees this and goes, "Are you serious? Are you? Yeah. I just got the ball back in my hand." I really wonder if he's excited about this trade. At the end of the day, I think here's the big thing. For me with all of this is I wasn't coming into any of these trades expecting to win. I was coming into all of these trades expecting for money to be cleared off of the books. You've got two contracts that end next year in Zach Collins and not Trey Jones. Who's the other dude we got? Kevin Huerter. You got two contracts that end next season. Trey Jones' contract ends at the end of this season, opening up some more money for you. You get the option you get the rights back to your pick for this season. This is the best draft for you to have this situation happen. I'm not telling you it's a win. I'm telling you it's a win on the best situation that you. I
get what you're saying. It's not a win overall, but it's you made the best out of it is what you could, right?
It's a win. Well, let's be real. It's a win after 4 losses. You've continually lost at every situation in the Zach LaVine market, and now you've won. Now, I will say this. The Milwaukee Bucks were aggressively pursuing Zach LaVine from what we heard from Evan Sideary, and the Golden State Warriors were going to pivot if they could not get Jimmy Butler to try and get Zach LaVine. Me and you both talked about that this morning or this afternoon. This recently just came out, and I wonder if AK pulled the trigger too fast on this deal. That the Heat's Jimmy Butler has communicated, this is per Brian Windhorst, to the Warriors that he's unwilling to sign an extension there, and therefore trade talks to send him to Golden State have ended for now. Did you trade him before you could have got the bidding war cracking?
I mean, listen, I here's the thing that I'll say, and they may have, right? I'm not saying that they didn't maybe do that, but here's what I'll say. They've been shopping him so long that I don't know if it, like, I don't know.
Can you take the chance?
Yeah.
Can you take the chance? That's one of those, like, we got a deal. Done.
Yeah.
And listen, let's say Milwaukee wins the bidding war. Are you comfortable sending them to Milwaukee for the next 5-6 years, and you got him, Giannis, and Dame? I don't know how long Dame's going to play, but you know what I mean, like I kind of get it from that aspect as well. It would have been interesting to see what the Warriors could have sent back, but their picks are going to be a little bit less. And with this deal, you get your pick back, and listen, now you're picking a direction. Suck. That's what we're going to see the rest of the year.
Yeah.
There's going to be never mind, that joke was about to be crazy.
Big Diesel says, why couldn't Acme at least made the Spurs give the Bulls back there? Here's the thing, and this is why leverages matters, because the Bulls had a 95% chance of keeping their pick anyway, right? So the Spurs are in a position to where it's like they already probably have resigned themselves to the fact of, all right, cool, we're going to lose this pick anyway. So now it's like the Spurs are basically looking at the Spurs. How committed are you to being bad? That's basically what the Spurs are doing. Like, are you committed to being a bottom 8 team the next 2 years?
For sure.
That's basically what they're looking at and saying.
Right, and we know they're not.
Yeah.
We know they're not. Here's the thing. I don't expect them to try and lose out. I don't expect them to.
The only thing that would make me convinced that that they're trying to lose out is if Billy Donovan gets fired. Then I'll say, okay, maybe they are committed.
I mean, listen, they had a 95% chance to keep the pick with Billy Donovan. I think he's a commitment to losing. So,
well, see, but I still don't think that because, like, I think now, here's the thing. Billy Donovan, as long as there are any veterans on this team, Billy Donovan's still going to play those veterans over some young players, right? At least some minutes, right? Yeah. So I think that, to me, if Billy Donovan, if he does either change his coaching philosophy or we bring in a coach that's basically saying, all right, Modest, you playing 30. You're getting 30 and 15 shots every single night. I don't care if you make them or miss them. We'll see, though.
I mean, big thing now is don't have to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't have to do this. You know, you've started the process. You've moved on from Zach. You want to have that veteran player who you kind of feel good about that can guide and mentor the next generation. Make that Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo Dosunmu is now, and make no mistakes. I kept getting asked this question: who gets the keys now? Who gets the keys? I didn't know we were in a car. Who gets the keys to the team? We had keys.
It's a self-driving car that has no sensors. That's what we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, if we're driving, we're heading straight towards a cliff.
Yeah.
The guy who gets the keys to this team, if there are keys being made, is not on the team yet.
That's true.
That's who gets the keys. That's why getting the pick back is so important. You're trying to get the guy who can have the keys. You know what I like about Modest? Modest might be a great number 2. Like the fact that he's shooting the 3 ball so well. He does not seem like a superstar to me. Maybe the more he plays, the more he will turn into that. But he doesn't seem like a superstar to me in the making just yet. Ayo Dosunmu is Kirk Heinrich. Yeah. He's your Kirk Heinrich. You know when Kirk Heinrich's great? He's going to be great in the baby Bulls moments, right? He's going to be fun. Oh, look at Ayo. He's out there balling. He crossed that man up. He dunked on somebody. That's crazy. He's great when you got Derrick Rose standing next to him. This is a attempt to go find your Derrick Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I give you more credit for that, even though this is a loss of a trade. But when people say fleeced means you didn't get the equal value for what you were supposed to get. That went away 4 years ago. Well, not really, 2 years ago.
Man.
That's been gone for 2 years.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. Like, this is. Here's what I'll say to this.
You used all your energy arguing with B minor, dog. Look at you. You're dead.
No. I'm trying to figure out a way to word this. Here's what it comes down to, right? Is that the Bulls in this case, right? And it's a series of lack of taking care of your assets. This is what gets you to this place, right? Because I get it. You turned down the Knicks pick because at that point in time, I don't even think Zach LaVine, he was 1 year into the extension. It was during the first year after signing his extension.
Yeah.
They still had thoughts that Lonzo were going to come back. They still had thoughts that, hey, we're committed to this continuity thing. That's still doing all that. I understand that. But when that team took a step back and was in a play-in and couldn't even make it out the play-in, you should have, if you didn't want to get fleeced, that would have been the time to do it. Now, I understand why they didn't do it at that time, but every year you take less and less. And keep in mind, while they haven't all been major injuries, he had an injury every single year since then.
And that's the thing. It's like I don't give you a break for not doing your job well. Your job is to realize that Zach LaVine got hurt into the second year of that contract, did not play in. You did make the playoffs that first year. Remember, we played the Bucks in the playoffs that first year.
But that was before Zach's extension. Keep in mind, that was on Zach on the last year of his prior contract.
That was on last year, right. You extended him that next season. First year of the extension, he gets hurt. Did he come back for the play-in?
Yeah.
I don't remember if he was back. Was he back?
He was back for the play-in. He was in every play-in.
He was back for the play-in.
Except last year, yeah.
You win the first play-in game, you lose the second, you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The second you see that the dude that you just signed to a massive contract has had another injury that's going to set him back in an off season, that's when your brain needs to go, oh, maybe we need to find somebody else here. The second you get into the second stint of Lonzo Ball possibly coming back, but maybe not, that's when your brain needs to go, okay, this is done. This team should have worked. I wanted this team to work. It's not going to work. It doesn't work without Lonzo. We can clearly see that. This is done.
Yeah.
So I don't give AK credit for trying to stick to his guns in a situation where we as content creators could look at it and go, oh, all right. I mean, Zach LaVine with another injury is tough. Do we really want to run this back again? And then we ran it back again. And then we ran it back again. And technically we ran it back again, but halfway through the season, after 40 games, he was like, that's enough of this.
Yeah.
Maybe Josh getting convicted. Hey, what?
This is crazy, bro. This is crazy.
You want to know what? I will say this before we get out of here. I want to thank Zach LaVine for his time here in Chicago.
Absolutely.
Zach LaVine was nothing but a professional.
About a couple episodes ago, I get it that Zach never won at the level that, of course, Bulls fans wanted, and part of that is because of the teams that he was on, things like that. Part of it is because of him. I mean, both things could be true at the same time. But Zach
still the most losingest player in NBA history.
No, he's not. There's other players, but I think he's the most losingest starter in NBA history.
Okay,
which,
right.
Or he's high up there. But I will say this though, like we haven't always put him in the team, great teams. We gave him terrible coaches for the majority of that time as well. But Zach LaVine still, and this is objective truth, one of the best offensive players that have ever put on a Chicago Bulls uniform.
Yeah,
period.
100%. I mean, I enjoyed watching Zach play. I loved his game. It's a reason why I wanted the Bulls to pay him the money going through the struggle years. I wish he was less injured, but that's not on him. I think that he represented the organization exactly how I hope this next young player and next young generation of players comes in and represents the Chicago Bulls organization. Do I wish you had won more? 100%, but you didn't. And that's not all on you, like you said, but a portion of that is. And you never once looked at this organization and wanted to go public and besmirch them and say that you were done and you weren't coming back and you're holding out and you're not going to play as hard because of your contract. That never happened. So I will give you credit for that. I think that it's going to be wild seeing you play in a Kings jersey with DeMar again. And I don't know. Are we Kings fans? Kind of a little bit the rest of this way? Do I want to see the Kings win? I think I might want to see the Kings win.
Oh, listen, I'm off. Listen, I have no ill will towards Zach, to DeMar, to I hope all those guys go in and have a great. I hope that Zach LaVine pairs with Domantas Sabonis, and it's exactly what we thought him and Laurie would be. I hope that ends up happening there. I wish the best for him.
Yeah,
but I just want my franchise. What do we keep saying? I want them to have a direction. This clearly puts them on a direction.
100%. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they finish out the direction. But it feels like
on the direction. It's up to them to solidify it, right? Like you can put somebody on the road. You can give them the car. You can even give them food. But if they just too stupid to get there, that's on them at that point.
Hey,
right?
Bro, listen. We can start down the yellow brick road. That don't mean AK won't be like, is that green over there? Let me go see what green look like. That's a different road. 8 lives in. Chicago Wizards activated. I'm gonna tell you this right now. It's impossible to be that bad. I don't care how many pieces we get rid of. Yeah. Our young pieces are better than their starters.
That's true. That's true.
Let's get up out of here, man, before we got to put an ad reader in this mug, dog.
Yeah, all right, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll break this down further at some point, man. I'm sure there's going to be other trades coming. We could be live again. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Love you guys. Go Bulls, y'all. Peace.